Welcome from the West Coast to here on the East Coast and everywhere in between. Welcome to a cloudy, brisk day here at Higgins Stadium. Today's matchup is between the 14-5, 22nd nationally ranked Ithaca College Bombers and the 17-3, 20th nationally ranked University of Rochester Yellow Jackets. However, those records do not matter. Why? Well, today, the only thing that matters is this game. One game, the Liberty League Championship game. I'm Max Raymond. Alongside me here is Johnny Lisi to bring you pregame, halftime, and postgame show. Eli Fishman and Andrew Roberts will be on the call shortly. But first, Johnny, how are you today?
Well, this is an exciting day and a day that Ithaca College field hockey fans have looked forward to since last year when their season ended against Johns Hopkins, and more recently when their Liberty League season ended in the championship here at Higgins Stadium against William Smith last year. And the Bombers, their last championship appearance here in the Liberty League Championship was a year ago in a 1-0 loss against William Smith here at Higgins Stadium. So the Bombers are looking to change that narrative and come home with their first ever Liberty League Championship.
Well, the Bombers, they have a lot of momentum going into this one, coming off of an 8-game winning streak. But on the other hand, Rochester has a 7-game winning streak, so that almost cancels out. That being said, the Bombers started their 8-game winning streak with a 2-0 win over Rochester here at Higgins Stadium.
Yeah, getting a road win at Rochester was big for them, a 2-0 road win. But you look at the Bombers' winning streak, and there are multiple shutouts. A shutout against Rochester, a shutout against Vassar, against Skidmore, Oswego, and then Skidmore in the semifinals. That's 5 shutouts. So an incredible number, and really this is a good Bombers team. They started out flat against Skidmore in the semifinals, so they need to get a hot start. But this Rochester team, Ithaca only played 4 quarters of field hockey on Friday. Rochester had to travel to Schenectady to play Union. They had to play 4 quarters of field hockey, 2 10-minute overtime periods, and a 4-2 shootout that they won, and then travel back to Rochester, and then travel here to Higgins Stadium. The Bombers haven't left the South Hill since October 30th when they played Oswego on the road. So, Max, you look at it, I don't know if jet lag is really a thing when you're just driving across New York State, but hey, the Bombers have home field advantage, and they're ready.
Definitely, and that home field advantage has really been a home field advantage. The Bombers an 8-1 record here at home. They've been stellar. What I'm also looking and keying into is the defense of this Bombers team. We look at against Skidmore last time out, and even the time before that during the regular season. In those 2 games combined, 8 quarters, 1 shot allowed on goal for that Skidmore team. The Bombers, the defense was really stellar.
Yeah, the Bombers had good defense, and we've seen, I saw both matchups against Skidmore, the one that you and I saw in late October in the regular season, and then on Friday at home. Both of them 2-0 wins, only 1 shot on goal for Skidmore in both games combined. So the Bombers did a really good job neutralizing the thoroughbreds there, but something you have to look at is that the Bombers really came out flat, like I said, in the first half. Really slow start, 0-0 at halftime. Not what you want in the Liberty League semifinals against the number 5 seed in the tournament. But the Bombers had a really good second half, so they need to pick up that momentum. You look at we were talking about it before, and comparing and contrasting both warm-ups. On Friday, the energy was high. The Bombers, they were out there dancing and singing along to the great warm-up mix, but today it's all business. Yeah, they're playing around a little bit because all in all, Max, this is a fun sport, and you play the game to have fun. But it's business for this Bombers team. They're ready. They're prepared. A lot of these upperclassmen remember what it was like to lose 1-0 to William Smith on this home turf, and Max, it was a stressful Sunday for them last year after the Liberty League Championships, waiting to hear their name called in Division III Field Hockey Selection Sunday. They managed to get an at-large bid, beat Endicott, eventually lose to a very good Johns Hopkins team, who ended up making it to the national championship at Division III. So the Bombers really want to go into Selection Sunday and hear their name called as an at-large bid.
At the very least, definitely. And now we look into the offensive side of things, and corners are a key scoring opportunity in field hockey. And Johnny, I know you love to preach about these corners. What are you looking at from the Bombers to really get going today on that corner side of things?
Well, they had really good corner design against Skidmore last week. They scored on one. Natalie Descalso, Mira Burry inserted it to the middle of the circle, found Madeline Goodman, and Goodman got Descalso on the wing for a wide open shot past one of the best goalies in the Liberty League, and Victoria Bodner for Skidmore. So really, for the Bombers, you got to perform well on corners. In their win against Skidmore, the Bombers were up 8-1 in corners, so they really need to convert. They need to generate corners, but they need to convert on corners, most importantly. And for Rochester, in their shootout win against the Garnet Chargers of Union, Rochester had 15 corners. Union only had 6. Rochester was really sloppy on their corners.
Definitely a big key, and you talked about Descalso getting the goal off the corner. She also scored later in that quarter the second Bomber goal of that game. She has really been strong, and for the Bombers offensively, Descalso is going to be a key factor in this one. Is there anyone else you think is also going to need to step up for the Bombers to be able to win today?
Well, I want to take a look at two defenders who really don't get a lot of attention for the Bombers, and that's Bella McAllister and Reese Abramson. I talked a lot about Reese last game against Skidmore, but Bella McAllister had an assist last game. She's really important for this Bombers team. As a senior, 3 assists on the season. You got to watch out for this Bombers defense.
Definitely. Now on the other side for Rochester, I'm going to go with Kara Houston, the netminder for Rochester, being one of the key players needing to step up for them to win today. The Bombers, they love to rain on the shots, averaging over 15 shots on goal per game, which is a ridiculous number. So for Rochester and the Yellow Jackets to stay in this one, a big key is going to be the goaltending. Anyone else on the Rochester side you think is going to need to have a big game today for them to be able to win?
Well, you have the big combo of first year Hannah Meta. It's rare in collegiate field hockey that you see a first year athlete get the lead in points for your team. Hannah Meta, 14 goals, 5 assists for the freshman from Shenendehowa High School. And you also have sophomore from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Grayson Honig, 14 goals, 3 assists. Those two are very key for the Yellow Jackets today.
All right, well, game time nearing. We will send it to a break, and when we come back, it'll be Eli Fishman and Andrew Roberts on the call. For Johnny Lisi, I'm Max Raymond. We'll see you guys at halftime. Enjoy the first half.
8 hours, 30 minutes until the NCAA Selection Committee announces the field of 28 for Division III field hockey. But for today, we are live from Higgins Stadium as the nationally ranked number 22 Ithaca Bombers take on the number 20 Rochester Yellow Jackets for the Liberty League title and an automatic bid for tonight. I'm Andrew Roberts, here with Eli Fishman. How are you doing, Eli?
Doing great, Andrew. Pleasure to be joined alongside you for the Liberty League Championship game and an Ithaca team that has been the top seed in the regular season for the past 3 seasons now going into 2024. They've hosted the Liberty League tournament, gotten that top seed, and in 3 of the past 4 seasons they've gotten the championship. What they have not gotten is that elusive first championship in the Liberty League since joining the conference. A tough Rochester team today, a matchup of top 25 opponents, and Ithaca again looking for that first Liberty League championship.
Yeah, Ithaca, the number 22 team in the nation, Rochester, number 20, and I mean, yeah, Ithaca looking to secure their bid before tonight, but even if so, both of these teams have a lot of good wins on their resume. There is a chance that both teams could be in the tournament tonight. So this is not only a chance for Ithaca to lock up their spot, but also a good test for them headed into potential NCAA tournament play.
Yeah, and this has been a dominant region this season, especially with a lot of changes going on between the Empire and the Suniac Conference. Brockport and Geneseo moving over. Geneseo's run the table, limited at-large bids available. It's a battle, but it's simple. You win, you're the Liberty League champion, and you're into the postseason.
But we are underway, and Rochester will start with it. It is Mita, and that is going to be staying at midfield for now. Ithaca taking over possession and keeping it near midfield. A battle for the ball, and it is taken back over by Rochester, and they are driving forward now. That is out of bounds on the sideline in Rochester's offensive territory. Conomikes last had it, and Rochester will continue with it. Ithaca takes over in the defensive zone now.
41st all-time meeting between these two schools. A lot of history. Ithaca is 24-16 against the Yellow Jackets. All-time, the Bombers have won 4 of the last 5, including a 2-0 victory in the regular season for Ithaca, which came about midway through the conference slate. Natalie Descalso, Catherine Papa with the goals in that one.
Yeah, and Descalso has been great for this Bombers team. She had both of the goals against Skidmore yesterday. Now Ithaca driving the ball into the offensive zone, but Heppard is back there for it for Rochester. She's met by 2 Ithaca defenders, and Ithaca looking to take that back, goes out of bounds, and Rochester will have it. And that is going to be taken over by Mateer, the defender for Rochester. Mateer going to inbound it. Zhang has it. That goes past the goal, and they're going to have to, Houston is going to have to fall on that one.
And that is Catherine Papa with a big-time play, essentially playing defense on the pass to try and force the turnover and force Kara Houston, who's been one of the best goalies in the conference this season, allowing just over a goal per game out of the net to make a play and applying the pressure. That's what this defense is all about.
That could have been a very sudden turn of events after the Rochester defense had possession very close to their goalie Houston. Ithaca ready for it. And Fedorova to start with it here for Rochester. They're driving towards midfield. Ithaca battling for it. It's on the sideline near all the players. And now back into Ithaca's offensive zone. Zhang going to field it for Rochester. Now Fedorova. And back past Ithaca's 25. And now Ithaca driving forward again. They turn it around. It's Burry. But this is a lot of back and forth right here. But Rochester hasn't had it in their offensive zone for a while now.
And this has just been a testament to the press of Ithaca's defense. McAllister, Garver are able to force a couple of big turnovers and apply the pressure. Rochester against this press right now cannot get the ball out of their own defensive 25.
Yeah, they haven't really been able to maintain possession for long. Ithaca's just ready for possession at all times here. And that one is hit out of bounds.
This is an Ithaca defense that allowed only 5 goals throughout the course of Liberty League play this season, including 2 in the loss to William Smith. One of the best defensive teams in the nation, allowing only 0.8 goals per game. That is 11th at the Division III level.
And Maeve Clark, the sophomore, has been excellent in net, but I mean, these veteran defenders have really helped her out a lot this year. Emma Garver is one of the top Liberty League players. She's 3rd in the Liberty League in defensive saves, and you also have Eliza Bolero, some great midfielders on defense as well. And now Ithaca has it in the scoring circle. It is possessed by Papa, but Rochester going to take it over pretty quickly there. Zhang over to Fedorova. Fedorova driving that deep towards midfield. That goes out.
And it helps when you've got so much experience in the backfield as well. Bella McAllister, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year in the Liberty League as well. This is a group of seniors, 3 of whom play defense in the backfield, 2 juniors as well, that have all been starting essentially since their freshman year, a couple since their sophomore year as well, who've been on runs in the Liberty League, in the NCAA tournament, and a very strong senior class.
For sure. Ithaca returns McAllister and Goodman as starters. Abramson has been starting this year. She was a key piece last year off the bench. That one is now, for the first time in a while, in Rochester territory, and it is possessed by Canillo. Back towards midfield, it's Maida. Maida one-on-one with an Ithaca defender. That is Goodman. And Ithaca going to take over. It's Descalso approaching the 25, now headed towards the scoring circle. And that is broken up by Rochester. But it looks like Ithaca may have a corner here, yeah.
Jody Zhang steps in front of the pass, steps in front of the shot towards the right side of the goal, bats it away, and the first corner opportunity for Ithaca.
Yeah, that goes past the end line, and now the Bombers will have a shot for the corner here. Rochester does not allow a lot of corners. They've allowed less than 100 on the season, but the Bombers know how to force them. And the crowd is loud for this one. Let's see what they can do here. And Bombers going to pass it around a little bit. And that one not going much of anywhere before the Rochester defense takes over. But Ithaca might have a second chance. No, that will be saved for now. And Rochester going to have it.
And first corner out a lot of the time for Ithaca. You'll see your typical shot to the top of the circle and the drag flick to see how the defense plays it. This time to both hitters on the left and right side trying to find an angle. And you see a different approach on quarter number one and obviously a more aggressive approach because, as you said, Rochester, one of the best in the conference at defending the corner and not allowing them. But Rochester on the offensive side of things, significant. 242 offensive corners, 65 more than any other team in the Liberty League. Ithaca's in second place.
That's unbelievable. Descalso has it in the offensive zone. That's going to go towards the goal, but Rochester has plenty of defenders there ready to break up any Ithaca momentum here. I find Descalso a lot of times, I mean, yes, a great goal scorer, but also kind of serves almost like a point guard for this team, distributing it to other scorers here. She has 6 assists on the year. But Rochester taking over right now. Mateer passing it forward, but that goes out. And Ithaca has it around midfield. That's Garver pushing forward. Ithaca still maintaining possession. That's Valley now. Valley gets that into the scoring circle. Will Ithaca keep possession? Yes, for now. But then Rochester takes it over quickly.
And a good chance trying for the assist from the end line. Had Barry crossing in front of the goal.
Yeah, just lots of opportunities for Ithaca, but Rochester's defense has been ready so far. We'll see if that changes later. And we are right around midfield. Rochester has possession. Still 0-0. 7 minutes, 49 seconds to go in the first quarter. Ithaca taking it, preventing Rochester from entering their offensive zone. And right now, Ithaca continues to drive forward, but they're going to lose the ball right there. And Mateer going to inbound it for Rochester. Right around A little closer to Ithaca's side, but still short of the 25. And that will be Zhang. Over to Fedorova once again. Zhang and Fedorova have really been maintaining the defensive zone for Rochester. They've stayed back when other defenders and midfielders have come forward for Rochester. And Heppard going to be back there now, ready for this potential Ithaca opportunity. Yeah, and Ithaca continuing to try and push towards their scoring circle, but Rochester all over them right now. Two close one-on-ones, but Ithaca gonna get another opportunity here. Looks like they are setting up for the corner once again.
Brady Sullivan on the press, able to force the corner and try and get a shot off immediately after the takeaway at the top of the attacking circle. And as we talked about, Rochester, a tough team to draw corners against. Ithaca's going to have another shot here.
Yeah, this is going to be another big opportunity for Ithaca. We'll see if it goes any different than the first one. And they are ready to go here. That is inbounded. And that's Garver. And that one is going to be back over the end line, not anywhere near the goal.
And that's McAllister, the defender, who's both on the attacking and defensive corner units for Ithaca, who was able, from the right side, as the hitter, to get the shot off.
Ithaca still has it, though. Yaner in the game now. That one to the left past the goal. And that goes all the way to the other side of the field. Rochester will take over now. And that is going to be Zhang starting with it once again. Right side, looking for Fedorova, but broken up this time around. That pass that's been working most of the game for Rochester, Ithaca's on top of it now. And here's Goodman. Goodman getting ready to bring it back to the offense. But that'll take a bit here. The first pass, not able to, yeah, now they'll head back towards midfield. Garver going to take it into the offensive zone. Rochester picks that up on that pretty quickly. And Rochester has it briefly there. They'll maintain possession after Ithaca hits that out. Mateer going to start it once again. Mateer looking for an open woman. It's going to be Canillo. Canillo weaving around Ithaca defenders. And now Rochester starting to drive forward a little bit, but Ithaca breaks it up in midfield. Miraburri on top of that one. And that's out on the sideline right there. Rochester will take it back, have another opportunity here.
And 6 different players now checking in for Ithaca. And that has been such a strong suit of this team, especially in the playoff run, is the amount of contributors that you have off the bench. 20 different players saw the field versus Skidmore. Obviously, in playoff situations, I mean, Skidmore only had 14 on the field throughout that game. You obviously see the 11, 12, 13 best weapons, but Ithaca constant line changes.
Yeah, depth is huge for Ithaca. Brady Sullivan's been big. Peyton Yaner's been big. So many different players off this bench. Ainsley Grant, there's another one. She has possession in the offensive zone, but that goes out at the end line. Rochester going to take it back. Heppard bringing that back. And now it's Mateer in the Rochester defensive zone. Several Ithaca defenders ready for the ball, but that one will go past all of them, headed towards the offensive zone. Looks like it's going to go out. Yes, it will. Ithaca will take over on their defensive side. It's McAllister to start with it. McAllister defended right there by Rochester. It's Honig, but McAllister will hold on for now. Now they're going to let Garver take it. And Ithaca's defenders continue to hold down the fort here. That one brought upward. And now Garver will continue with it in midfield. Emma Garver's just been huge for this team, Eli.
4 defensive saves, leads the team on top of what she's done with 8 points on the offensive side.
Absolutely. And now Rochester will have it back in their defensive zone after Ithaca was starting to move with it, just couldn't get anything going there. Heppard bringing it into midfield for the Yellow Jackets. Heppard kind of a midfielder-defender hybrid here for Rochester. But Ainsley Grant knocks that down, bringing it into the offensive zone, and that's going to be a shot wide to the right of Cara Houston. And now it will be Ithaca maintaining possession here in their offensive zone. Valley, several Rochester defenders there to meet her. Heppard has it again. Heppard's been huge for Rochester. Forward to Maida, but Ithaca, both these teams have just been great in just staying on the ball there. Several broken up passes throughout the game on both sides. And that goes past the end line. Ithaca will get another try here. They're on the left side of the goal. And they are approaching the middle. Rochester not going to let anything happen there. Several defenders there with Houston to help. Didn't look like there was any real chance for a shot there. Mateer with possession for Rochester. And they're pushing towards midfield. It's a battle for the ball that has continued throughout the game. Neither of these teams have really had many long-standing possessions of the ball here.
And it's a testament to both defenses. Like we talked about at the top of the broadcast, it's the 2 best defenses in the Liberty League. Only 1.04 goals per game for opponents against Rochester. Just over 0.8 goals per game for opponents against Ithaca. The exact defensive battle that we talked about. You question whether there's even going to be a single goal scored in regulation. That's how strong both these teams are on the defensive side of things. But so far, it's been Ithaca that has had a lot of strong possessions, which has come off the turnovers on their attacking 25, which is the most impressive part of it.
Yes, they have kept it in their attacking 25 for long periods of time. But it's Rochester right now. Maybe one more chance. No, not going to happen. 5 seconds left. Looks like we are going to be scoreless as the first quarter comes to a close. Rochester had a shot there, but not much time. So it's 0-0 as we head to the second quarter. Eli, what do you like from the Bombers from that first quarter?
The aggression on the press and on their own attacking 25, not letting Rochester even get to the other side of the white line. And that is something that has really been the identity of this team over the past few seasons, where, again, they've made the Liberty League Championship now 3 of the last 4 years. And, defense is obviously such a big piece of that. 2-touch, quick-paced field hockey that this team plays, and they've just put an emphasis on individual defense for every single player on the field. There's not an attacker that's ever on the field for Ithaca that can't make a big-time stop on defense.
For sure. And a lot of the midfielders, too.
And Rochester hasn't been able to get a corner off as well. And a big piece of that is the fact that, they haven't even been barely to the other side of midfield. But, again, the discipline in the circle is going to be a big piece both on the offensive and defensive sides.
Yeah, and as you said, Eli, Rochester very good at forcing corners, but then again, hard to force them if you're not over there. I think they've been over there maybe 2 or 3 times in one quarter. That is not a lot. And even when they have been back there, defenders for Ithaca like McAllister, like Goodman, like Abramson have been there to meet the Yellow Jackets. And then, midfielders like Emma Garver, even strikers getting involved in the defensive effort for the Bombers, and Rochester just hasn't been able to keep up.
Yeah, and go back to the strikers as well, because that's a big piece of the defensive effort for a team, especially like Ithaca. And obviously, if you're on the attacking side of things, you're an offensive-minded striking player, it can be difficult to play defense. You kind of want to be selfish. You want the ball. You want to shoot. You want to score. But again, what this Ithaca team does so well is everyone, all 11 players in the field, including all the strikers, everyone on the attacking side of things, can make the big plays on defense. I mean, early in the game, we saw Garver, Descalso, Valley, all with some big-time defensive stops that forced the shots and thus far has put the pressure on Kerry Houston in net.
Yeah, and another factor here is Ithaca, a far more experienced team than Rochester. Rochester's top two scorers both underclassmen. But we are underway for the second quarter. Heppard and Rochester going to start with it. Now it's Arsenault on the right side towards the player's sideline. Rochester continuing to drive forward, but Ithaca will take over in midfield. It's Descalso. Descalso going to pass it backwards to another Bombers defender. Now in the offensive zone, that'll go out. And right there, it was Descalso to Hennessy, and just not able to get much momentum there.
There's the press again.
Yeah. And look at Catherine Papa right there. I mean, she has been unbelievable in trying to force turnovers for Ithaca. But Rochester not fooled this time around. Ithaca takes over at midfield, though. It's Goodman. Goodman broken up by Maida. Maida has been relentless in trying to create offensive opportunities for Rochester here. And right now, it'll be possessed by Canillo. But Ithaca going to take over right around Rochester's 25. We're still in midfield. It's Heppard. Heppard weaving through Ithaca defenders. Now it's Fedorova trying to push it forward. But no, Ithaca will take over. Looks like that went out. Hennessy driving it forward. And Zhang and Mateer are back there for Rochester once again. Nobody there for Ithaca yet. Maybe a little bit too far on the pass. Mateer, left side to Beyer. But Ithaca going to take over now. It's Schoenfeld. Not for long, though. Heppard taking it back for Rochester. This is continued back and forth. Now Ithaca once again trying to push it forward. The shot is going to be wide to the left.
Man, with Papa just crossing in front of the cage, and great heads up, high IQ play by McAllister again. That press, the takeaway, saw the potential right in front of the cage with an opening on a far pass. And again, instead of trying to play a little bit more conservative, we've seen Rochester's played very well on the defensive side. In transition, they haven't been able to again, get the ball on the other side of midfield, which is a testament to the press. But McAllister saw the opportunity and took it.
McAllister not necessarily known for her offense, but I mean, yeah, if you're taking a shot like that, you got to be at least somewhat confident in it. Just a little bit wide to the left there. If that was a little bit closer to the goalpost, could have gone in. So I think it was a good decision by McAllister, despite the slight inaccuracy there. It's just a little bit hard to get one in from that far. Rochester controlling it at midfield now, but not without fight from the Bombers. Valley has been aggressive in trying to get the ball back here. Descalso with her. And it looks, yeah, Ithaca almost had it there, but Rochester holding on for now. Fedorova going to have it towards the fans' sideline, pushing it forward to the Rochester offensive zone, but Ithaca will take over there. And it's McAllister receiving it from Abramson. McAllister will throw it forward to Goodman. Goodman has it around midfield. Goodman back again to Abramson. And now on the players' sideline, Descalso tried to tip it towards the offensive zone there, but goes out. And still in midfield. That'll be Goodman again. Ithaca trying to create something here now. It's McAllister once again pushing towards the offensive zone, but Maida as well as Canillo on her there. Goodman. That's now in the scoring circle again. Can Ithaca score it here? That's going to be a shot from Valley. Looks like it'll be saved by Houston. Rochester will continue to maintain possession here. Could Ithaca have another opportunity, though, after the takeover? It'll be a corner. Some back and forth in the scoring circle there. Going to lead to an Ithaca corner there. They're doing a good job forcing those today.
Pressure, high volume of shots, leads to corners. And that's exactly what Ithaca has done when they've been in the circle thus far.
And look at McAllister and Goodman making an impact past the 25. I mean, you don't see that often from defenders. I mean, the Bombers have some great ones. And Abramson's going to stay back for this corner, but everybody else getting ready to go. Scarver, pass, shot. That's wide to the left again. Unfortunately, Ithaca's shots just have not gone where they've wanted them today, but they've had a lot of opportunities. Eventually, something's got to go.
5 of them. That's the second on goal, coming on 3 corner opportunities for Ithaca.
Yeah, and Mateer going to have it for Rochester. Descalso watching her, as well as Valley. Ithaca going to take over at midfield is Burry. Burry with a big shot and a goal. Wait, no. Excuse me. No goal. That's too far. Okay. Yeah, well, the long shot for Burry, trying to find someone in the circle, but nobody there. And yeah, we'll see if one of those can convert later for Ithaca. Yainer. Garver. Going to push that into the scoring circle. Rochester going to take over here. Heppard. Excuse me, that's Mateer. But Mateer has it in the Rochester defensive zone. She will pass it forward. That is going to go out around midfield. And a lot of these long passes being pushed out of bounds. But that doesn't matter for possession here. Ithaca takes over in their defensive zone. McAllister over to the right side. Descalso trying to keep it in bounds. That is a successful effort. And Garver has it right around midfield. Pushing that forward. Sullivan briefly had it. Now Descalso back to Sullivan. Sullivan continuing to move with it. And can Ithaca keep it in bounds here? Yes, they can. Yainer looking for someone. That's back to Garver. Garver back to Yainer. And Rochester taking it once again. That is Heppard. Mara Heppard and Abigail Mateer have been huge for Rochester's defense today.
We haven't gotten the chance to talk about Rochester on the offensive side.
Yeah.
Maida and Honig, they're tied for second in the Liberty League in goals with 14 apiece. And mentioning it earlier in the broadcast, this is a team that takes by a far margin in Rochester more shots than anyone else in the Liberty League.
Yeah, this offense has been silenced today. Descalso now pushing it back to Ithaca's offensive zone. That's really the only way the ball has gone for most of this game. And now 6 minutes left in the half. Do you think we'll see a goal in this half?
If it is, it's going to be Ithaca the way their offense has been playing, with another chance off the free hit.
Yeah, and Garver going to take that free hit. That is passed to Burry. Burry around the scoring circle. Back to Garver. Rochester been aggressive here in forcing turnovers. Yainer Going to keep it for Ithaca, though. Can Ithaca create something here? They keep getting broken up. And now Zhang has it for Rochester. And there were so many times where an Ithaca player took it over in the scoring circle, looked like they had something, but there was just too many Rochester defenders swarming them there. Mateer going to push it forward into midfield. Mateer, that goes out as Rochester tries to push it towards their offensive zone. They will take it back over in midfield. Fedorova, that is broken up. A steal by Peyton Yainer. And Ithaca continuing to move with it. But now Rochester going to have it once again. It was Arsenault who took over possession for them. It's back and forth in the midfield, as it has been for much of this game. Can Ithaca get it back into their offensive zone in the next minute or two? For now, Rochester going to send it their way. It goes out around midfield. Arsenault going to bring it back in. Whistles are blown. That'll start it. Heppard has it at midfield. Grant there with her. Ainsley Grant continuing to track the ball here. But Ithaca bringing it back towards midfield, preventing any Rochester opportunity. Now Rochester going to have a shot to drive forward. How long will this last? It's Maida. Maida driving towards the scoring circle. And we're going to have stoppage here. But Maida... And it seems like this is going to be the first corner for Rochester. Maida forces it.
And now we'll see
First
the area where this Rochester offense has shined all season long.
Definitely. And we'll have to see who they go with for the shot here, whether it be Maida, whether it be Honig, whether it be somebody else. Just some great offensive talent here for Rochester. You mentioned the two of them. Zoe Konomikes also has 7 goals. Fedorova has 3 as a defender. That's very impressive. And it's going to be Heppard to get that to the Rochester offense. Maida over to Fedorova. Ithaca trying to break this up. Maida has it still. And that's Arsenault with the shot. And broken up once again. That
another
ball.
Corner.
Yeah, another corner here. So here we go again. A corner within a corner. And they'll chance that this next opportunity will be converted by Maida, by Honig, by somebody else. It'll be Heppard to bring it in once again. Canillo closest to her. But that will be started by a few different... That'll be touched by a few different Rochester players, but Ithaca breaks it up once again. Will Rochester convert on the opportunities they've created here? Fedorova going to control it in the offensive zone. Whistle is blown. It's going to be started back at the 25. It'll be Heppard. Heppard pushing that towards the player's sideline. And Ithaca going to take it from there. Strike towards midfield. Maida is there, but Grant there with her for Ithaca. And here's Valley. Going to pass that back after being met by defenders. This could be something good for the Bombers here. They continue to drive forward. And Bomber tripped up with the ball. No penalty called there. Arsenault bringing it back forward for Rochester. This is honestly the most offensive momentum I've seen by both sides in this game.
This is just a battle at the midfield in transition for either side right now.
Yeah, a lot of big breakaways, but they haven't lasted as long as these offenses would like. And now, staying at midfield, as it has for most of the game. A little bit more back and forth now in terms of position within the field. Rochester will keep it. Arsenault pushing forward to the offensive zone. And for the first time, Rochester has started to develop some offensive momentum. It's Honig, but not much there for Rochester. They'll have to try again here. Arsenault again. And that is at the sideline. Rochester will try to push it towards the scoring circle. And that is going nowhere. Honig and Canillo were ready, but the pass did not go to the right spot. Rochester coming back again, though. Ithaca pushes that one out. Ithaca's defense holding up here despite some time in the Rochester scoring area. We'll see if Rochester can convert on any of those opportunities later. This is the first we've really seen them push for something. It's a minute to go in the half, so unlikely to come in this half, but who knows? We've got a battle for the ball right at the Rochester line, but now headed towards midfield. And that one will be sent out. Rochester will keep it. Newbold pushing that one forward. Ithaca will take it. That's Hennessy. Hennessy forward to Descalso. Descalso crossing the 25 for Ithaca. Descalso trying to get that to the scoring circle. That goes out at the end line. And Rochester will take back over. "13 seconds left to go. Mateer over to Zhang, and it looks like Rochester is going to just run out the clock here. They'll hold it around the corner of the field, and that's it for the half. Still scoreless, and we will head to the halftime show shortly here. Johnny Leasy and Max Raymond coming on, but we will be right back.
She said she was going, and I looked for her. She wasn't there. For the Ursinus game? I was going to say, I looked for her at the Ursinus game, but I'm like, it's probably too late. But this is an awesome tournament, because there's also a... Okay, Natalie's like, do you know Dr. X? And I'm like, I love Dr. X. And then we were talking about field hockey, and Dr. X was like, do you know Natalie DeScalzo? Okay, okay, are you ready? Okay.
Welcome back to Higgins Stadium. I'm Max Raymond, alongside me, Johnny Lisi, for your halftime report. And it has been a back and forth battle. The kind of game that we anticipated and expected today. Zeros on the scoreboard, and it has really been a defensive game.
It's been really back and forth, Max. It's a midfield battle. That's something that Ithaca is very comfortable being a part of. The one game that sticks out to me is that 1-0 win against nationally ranked York of Pennsylvania. And the Bombers won that game 1-0 on a really early corner. But this is reminiscent, this halftime score. It was 0-0 on Friday against the Skidmore Thoroughbreds. But both teams, I had a feeling that this game would be close. These are two of the best teams. I think if we could look into the crystal ball a little bit and jump ahead, I think both teams have a really good shot at an at-large bid. Whoever loses this game, I think if Rochester loses this game, they have the best chance for an at-large bid. With Geneseo beating Hartwick, and I don't think Hartwick will get an at-large bid. And Geneseo, one of the best teams from the Empire 8, they snatched up that automatic bid. So it's going to be a wild, wild rest of the afternoon. But both teams are so even. The Bombers are really doing a good job. They did a good job towards the beginning of the game and into the first half of the second quarter, but then in the towards the end of the second quarter, Rochester was starting to get some offensive momentum after having little to speak of in the first quarter. But those couple corners that the Yellow Jackets had, Ithaca defended really, really well. Great defense, but well executed by the Yellow Jackets. So if they're going to keep executing corners like that, the Bombers need to look out. But Rochester, they've been solid in the midfield. They've been really solid on defense. We really haven't seen a lot of Honig. We've seen a solid amount of Hanameda for the Yellow Jackets, but really not a lot of the sophomore from Pittsburgh, Grayson Honig. For the Bombers, you need to get Natalie Descalso more shots in the circle. You need to be more aware in the circle. You got to generate some corners. 3 corners for the Bombers, 2 corners for the Yellow Jackets. It's been very even.
Definitely, and those 2 corners, again, they came within the last 5 or so minutes of that second quarter. It was, so far, a first half that's been more Bomber controlled, but bookended by Rochester momentum. It seemed like Rochester came out hot. They also, too, averaging high shots on goal numbers. They came out red hot. On the other side, though, for Ithaca, they found a way to break through the midfield in the heart of that first half and apply some pressure. But it's also been a struggle to get the shots on goal. They have 5 shots in this game, only 1 on goal, and for Rochester, 2 shots, none on goal. For 2 teams that are averaging 15 and 20 shots on goal, respectively, this is a game that we expected the defensive dominance, but is it hard not to believe that 0 goals is almost ridiculous?
I feel like 0 goals for each team is really reflective of how this game has been played. The Bombers have just done an excellent job, and in a midfield battle, what we're really going to see is scoring is going to come at a premium, and you got to earn your goals here, and you got to be even more specific and a little bit not dramatic, but a little bit build the suspense here. Every shot is going to be earned in this second half. I said at the beginning of the game that in the pregame show that this game has a very high chance of going into overtime. I'm going to up that and say this game has a very good chance of going into double overtime. 2 10-minute periods, golden goal, 7-on-7. It's competitive, Max. This is what we expected it to be. I said with Rihanna DeCrow in the post-game show on Friday, I said I was a little bit scared for this matchup between the Bombers and the Yellow Jackets, and so far that analysis has been very true. It's just been so competitive, and the Bombers found their match.
Well, definitely, and that's what we would expect and hope for a championship game and out of the Liberty League championship game. But before we wrap this up, one last little point is the weather. Not something typically talked about, but today, with the rain slowly on the rise and slowly to come, it was kind of drizzling towards the end of that first half, and now seems like it might be coming as the umbrellas are coming out from the fans before we send it off to the second half. Anything else on that, Mark?
So you look to the right, and you see some lighter clouds, not too bad over by the tennis courts, and you look to the left by the Emerson Suites and Cornell, and it is foggy, it is gray, it's going to be a rainy second half.
All right, well, for Johnny Lisi, I'm Max Raymond. We'll see you post-game. Eli Fishman, Andrew Roberts, they'll be back on the call in just a second for the second half.
Half number 2 from Higgins Stadium in the 2024 Liberty League Championship. It's Rochester, it's Ithaca, and there is no score. Just as we talked about throughout half number 1, and to open the broadcast, a defensive battle. A Rochester team that has barely allowed over a goal per game this season, an Ithaca team that's allowing less than a goal per season. And Andrew, just as we expected, it's been the defense, especially for Ithaca in the attacking third, where Rochester's barely been able to get it over to midfield. It was primarily in the first quarter, a little bit better in the second for Rochester's offense, but really still no remnants of what's overall been a very dominant Rochester offense this season.
Yeah. I mean, the Rochester offense has just not looked like itself today. They've had flashes of it, but the Bombers have broken up the Rochester offense at pretty much every turn here. And I mean, Maida showing what she can do possessing the ball, but beyond that, once she gets to the offensive zone, she's been swarmed.
Yellow Jackets here at half number 2, left to right in the all-white uniforms. Bombers right to left in the navy blues. Rain drizzling down. A couple players slipping on the turf to start off half number 2. Bella McAllister on the stop and guides the ball out of bounds just to the right of the goal. And a free hit back to the 25-yard line for Rochester.
And there's Heppard again to bring it back into the scoring circle, but it's broken up by Ithaca there.
Eliza Bellaro, I should say, with a nice stop on defense. And back to the 25 for Rochester.
Yeah, it's been hard for them to really create much in that offensive zone. And they're going to cross it here, but how far will they get?
More shots and shots on goal for anyone in the Liberty League for the Yellow Jackets. Thus far today, they've only gotten 2 off. None on goal. Bombers with 5 overall shots. 1 on goal. 3 corners for Ithaca. 2 for Rochester. And the battle of the goalies. Kara Houston, Maeve Clark.
Yeah, I mean, both goalies have been great, but they wouldn't be doing what they're doing without the help of some of these defenders. I mean, for the Rochester side, Heppard, Mateer, Zhang, Fedorova have all made an impact. And then for the Ithaca side, it's been primarily Abramson, McAllister, and Goodman, that trio that has started all year. They have really just been on their game. And then the midfielders helping out as well, Garver and Bolero, even some strikers, like I was saying earlier, this Ithaca defense. And I think a lot of it has to do with their experience out here.
Absolutely. The upperclassmen experience. All 7 seniors on this team who are fighting to have this not be the final game of their collegiate careers.
Yeah.
All 7 of them are starters. All 7 of them leaders of this team. Coach Caitlin Wahile in her 8th season at the helm has really talked about the closeness of this group as well. And again, many of them have been on the field together since their freshman, sophomore years. But with that, Andrew, go back to the fact that this is an Ithaca team that this is their 4th consecutive season as the regular season champion, entering the Liberty League playoffs as the top seed, yet to take home a Liberty League trophy following in the championship game 3 of the last 4 years, or two of the last 3 years, I should say, in addition to the 2022 semifinal game against Vassar. So what that means is they know what it's like to lose in the playoffs on Higgins Stadium.
Quite honestly, I think it's just making these seniors like Natalie Descalso, like Juliana Valley, hungrier to change that fate this season. And they have it once again in their own defensive zone. We'll see if they can push this forward here.
Falling to William Smith in the championship game last season. 1-0 Vassar in the semifinals, 1-0 the year prior.
Yeah, William Smith has almost been their kryptonite a lot of times. But, I mean, it has been other teams before. Vassar a couple of years ago. And we'll see how they do against this Rochester team the rest of today.
Ithaca granted the corner. Maddie Goodman slicing and dicing towards the left side of the cage, able to draw the penalty corner, and with 10-11 left to go here in the third of a scoreless game, Bombers with a strong drive and a strong opportunity.
And Goodman's ball movement and finesse in the scoring circle, for a defender, extremely impressive. And that's going to force another corner here. And seems like it'll be Schoenfeld to inbound it. Descalso's next to her.
4th corner for the Bombers.
The crowd is fired up for this one.
Schoenfeld injects it to the top of the circle. Garver tries to swing it in front of the cage. Second chance opportunity. Loose ball. Bounces in. Bombers take the lead.
And finally, they are able to convert on a corner. That one was tipped up to the top of the net, over the head of Houston. Some great skills by Ithaca right there. They're just showing what they're capable of in the scoring circle, especially off the corner. Credit to the goal will go to Juliana Valley.
Her 7th of the season. She had the game winner against Rochester when these two teams squared off the regular season, and comes away with the pivotal first goal coming off the corner attempt for Ithaca. Finally, someone able to get on the board. 1-0. Andrew, though, no cushion.
Absolutely. This is still anybody's game, but Juliana Valley tying Natalie Descalso in the goal lead for goals on this team. She has 7 goals, 3 assists, 17 points. That is second to Descalso. Both of them seniors on this roster that have just made a huge impact year in and year out.
Into the attacking circle for Rochester, batted down, and McAllister with it across the Bombers' zone 25. Give back to Rochester off the whistle.
What a play by Valley there. She was an All-Liberty League honorable mention last year for a reason. And she had an assist in the semifinal against Skidmore, but now netting a goal of her own.
And it was a late fight for it after a couple shot attempts following the initial corner. Got batted right back in front of Houston. And as she dove to the ground, Valley was able to get it in the air and off the netting at the top of the goal. Drops right back down beyond the white line.
And I really liked what the Bombers did there. They just packed the inside of the scoring circle with all of their strikers and just whoever was able to push it in at that point. It was just overwhelming for Houston.
Descalso.
That one
Lets one
wide to the
fly.
left.
Bombers looking to make it back to the NCAA playoffs for the second straight season. Last year, beating number 23 ranked Endicott in round 1 in Beverly, Massachusetts, before falling to, at the time, number 4 ranked and eventual national runner-up in Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, I mean, they've been able to make the tournament a lot of times, even when they don't get it done in the Liberty League playoffs. But yeah, when you're getting lower seeds in the tournaments, you end up having to face tough teams like Johns Hopkins. Obviously, you would have to face them eventually, but this Ithaca field hockey team, this is a big test for them. If they can win against a ranked Rochester team, then they have a good shot to go up against some high-caliber teams in the NCAA tournament.
And you mentioned it earlier on, Andrew, but both teams have the chance to lose and still make the tournament with an at-large bid. And not very many to be handed out, with Geneseo winning in the Empire 8, Cortland winning in the SUNYAC, and a very loaded region this season. But
yeah, there's no guarantees for an at-large bid. I mean, it's definitely possible, but there's no guarantees if either team loses this game that they would make the tournament. I mean, you have the NESCAC, which has 3 top 5 teams in last week's top 25, Middlebury, Williams, and Tufts, and the auto bid could still go to Bates. I mean, they're playing for the championship there. There's also Christopher Newport, who did not win their conference. They're number 6 ranked. Messiah, Lynchburg, and there's only 7 or 8 at-large bids to go out here. So, could be an uphill battle if a lot of those NESCAC teams get in.
batted down by Valley. Now Barry flings it back. Descalso tries to chase after it at the top of the circle. Rolls out of bounds beyond the left end line.
And a correction on what I said earlier, Tufts is going to get the auto bid here. The final score against Bates is 1-0. So that one's over, but still a lot of teams in the mix for at-large bids.
Bombers hungry for yet another goal.
And they're going to keep close watch of the ball here, even though Rochester has it. They'll take over, though.
Abrahamson down the sideline. Fight forward to the 25. Back left to right, Yellow Jackets direction. And remember, Bombers were able to get, it kind of feels like deja vu from Friday, where Ithaca was able to get on the scoreboard in the early minutes in the second half on a goal from Descalso, and then battling for insurance. Had a lot of shots throughout the end of the third and the fourth as well, but weren't able to get on the board. And then Descalso finally, with less than 3 minutes left to go in the fourth, was able to add a second goal to make it 2-0. But that, Descalso said that was, you didn't take a deep breath if you were the Bombers until those last 3 minutes when you had a 2-0 lead.
Not. And especially against a team like Rochester, that holds even more true, because this Rochester offense is definitely in a better position has been better throughout the season than the Skidmore offense. So an even tougher threat for the Bombers here.
A Skidmore team that was one of the best defensive teams in the nation and in the conference that Ithaca went up against on Friday, and was able to knock 2 goals in against the Thoroughbreds to advance here to the championship game. Another thing we haven't talked about, Andrew, is how Rochester got here. A great regular season to bounce back, winning their final 6 regular season games, and in round 1, facing the 3-seeded Union Garnet Chargers, tied 1-1 going into the first overtime period. It took all the way until a shootout.
Yeah, I mean, Rochester, if you want to talk about momentum headed into this game, Rochester had it. I think Ithaca scoring the goal, definitely a momentum shifter, but Rochester can very easily take that back with a score of their own. Ithaca has it in their offensive zone right now, though.
Circle entry. Swung back to the 25. Bolaro. Back to the midfield.
Yeah, Mira Burry going to be a big factor, kind of that general to midfield for the Bombers.
Valley. Top of the circle. Garver. Yonner. In front of the cage. Danger. Ball still loose in front of Houston. And Yellow Jackets able to retrieve it.
Yeah, that'll go Rochester's way. And Mateer is going to start it here for the Yellow Jackets, but Valley, Schoenfeld, several Ithaca defenders ready for her here. She's trying to look for the right pass to start things off. Descalso as well. Been a factor in threatening some of these defenders.
Back down the sideline. On the entry, Descalso winds, turns, loose ball in front of the cage, flick just in front, Schoenfeld with it now, but Houston leaps in front of the cage on all fours to make the stop.
And these have been some of the best scoring opportunities we've seen from the Bombers all day. They were able to convert on the corner there, coming up a little short that time around, but they had an open opportunity right there. Rochester going to take possession, though.
Now the Yellow Jackets looking for a burst of speed in transition.
Bombers taking over around midfield.
And you mentioned earlier on William Smith, the kryptonite of Ithaca the last couple of years. Only 2 losses for the Bombers in that middle part of the regular season, in between that 8-game winning streak, to William Smith and Geneseo. Back-to-back losses. The only time Ithaca lost 2 straight this season.
I would argue that Skidmore win over William Smith was big for them, because I think they definitely match up better against a team like Skidmore. Ooh.
Goodman breaking ankles.
Yeah, that was Maida falling down for Rochester. Their best offensive player, Goodman, coming right for her.
Slips on the wet turf with less than 30 seconds left to go here in the third.
Yeah, as halftime said, the rain picking up here as we enter close to the fourth quarter.
Circle entry for the first time this quarter for the Yellow Jackets. And time will wind down as the Bombers able to get it back on the miss hit from Honig. And that'll bring us to the fourth. 15 minutes left to go. Bombers on top 1-0. Looking to retain that lead and looking for Liberty League Championship #1. 45 down, 15 to play from Higgins Stadium on the campus of Ithaca College. Eli Fishman alongside Andrew Roberts bringing you the Liberty League Championship in 2024. Ithaca and Rochester, a battle of top 25 teams and a battle for the Liberty League crown. Ithaca only 15 minutes away from taking home the Liberty League Championship trophy for the first time since joining the conference. And Andrew, just as we expected, it has been all defense, but the Juliana Valley goal about midway through the third quarter able to lift Ithaca.
Yeah, that puts the Bombers in a similar situation to what they had against Skidmore. They're in the favorable position, but still have to keep their guard up for a potential Rochester goal. And once again, it's the veteran talent coming through on offense. Yesterday, it was Friday, it was Descalso. Today, it was Valley. They're two top goal scorers. They're two top point scorers. Getting it done when it matters most.
Valley, the senior, 18 career goals, 42 career points.
17 of those points have come this year. Valley, a multi-year starter for this Bombers team, though.
All 7 seniors for Ithaca. Starters on the field to begin this game and looking to be on the field to finish. Again, a team that has battled to get themselves in a position to turn around this program after the pandemic in the first place. But again, some tough postseason losses after the last few seasons, able to get the at-large bid last year. But prior to that, the championship losses to Rochester, William Smith, the semifinal loss to Vassar, with the opportunity for some vengeance.
Got to give some credit to Coach Caitlin Wahila as well. It's her 8th year, 89-45 as the head coach of the program. A lot of those wins have come with this core, but still a great coach of this team.
Coach Moore Ordung as well. She's the associate head coach. The two in tandem have led this squad thus far to a 14-5 season, 8 straight wins for Ithaca.
Yeah, this Bombers team is rolling, and they can pick up the win here. That would be 9 in a row headed into the NCAA tournament with an automatic bid. Would set them up very well. And
corner opportunity here for Rochester. Exactly what you're looking for if you're the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, definitely. This is only their second corner opportunity of the game. And that first one they were unable to convert, but they've done a good job converting them throughout the season. So, it's a third corner, but yeah, they've done a good job converting them throughout the season, so this could be a big opportunity for them.
We talked about Ithaca's defense so much. The defensive corners has been a strong suit over these last few weeks. The shot wide left.
That was Fedorova, a defender, but a great shot taker, just a little bit wide there.
And the discipline for Ithaca in the defensive circle. They've allowed 5 or less corners in 7 of the last 8, and 14 total times this season, allowing 5 or less corners from opponents. And again, the experienced backfield, such a factor in that. Even 1 year of experience for some of those sophomores in the backfield after, again, there were a lot of high-pressure, big game situations last year. A team that improved so much in the spring season as well, where there was a lot of momentum coming into this year. And again, you kind of look at the makeup of this roster with the 7 seniors that we've talked about that have guided this team on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
It's at its peak. It's a program that is truly at its peak.
And it's such a large contrast from Rochester, a program that, while it is good right now, could peak in a couple of years when, Grayson Honig, a sophomore, Hannah Maida, a first year, they age a couple more years, they are going to be unstoppable in this Liberty League. So it's just such a large contrast, the veteran experience of Ithaca versus this new core rising up for Rochester. These teams are just, quite frankly, at different times within their development periods.
Wide left on the long shot from the far side of the field by Yonner. And Coach Wahila saying coming into this week as well that this team is peaking at this time because they could not have had a better last 7 games of the regular season. We mentioned the tough losses in back-to-back games coming to Geneseo as well as William Smith in a William Smith game where this Bombers team, a loss that, obviously you don't want to lose, plain and simple. But Wahila was almost able to admit that in the long term, that win, or that loss, I should say, could not have been better for the story of Ithaca's season and allowed this team, they played some very good battles against top 25 opponents, including York, Cortland, Kane, to begin the season. Learned so much from some of those losses that has allowed them to go through the Liberty League schedule, as we mentioned, allowing only 5 goals.
Yeah, it's not about when you fall down. It's about getting back up stronger. And Mita had a shot right there for Rochester, but that was nowhere close. So, Ithaca's defense is preventing Rochester from getting quality shots in here for most of this game. The only real opportunities here for the Yellow Jackets have been corners, and they haven't converted on those either.
And only 3 corners for a Yellow Jackets team that is averaging over 14 per game.
Yeah, it's led to a lot of their 17 wins this season. Grant has it in the offensive zone for Ithaca, though.
Swings it into the circle. The shot from Yonner, and Ithaca is going to be granted a corner. Houston tried to come in and deflect it. Off the rebound, was rolling in front of the cage, and a defender in the way allows Ithaca, with 9:21 left to go in the fourth, allows them to be on the doorstep of another goal.
Yeah, Houston dove for that one and then kind of maintained that for a while, but eventually the corner was forced by the Bombers here. And they are going with the formation. Yeah, this time it's going to be Berry to hit this one in. Last time it was Schoenfeld. So a little bit of a change in their corner formation, but let's see if they can convert for a goal once again.
A wide variety of those formations they run. Stick stopper is Garver at the top. Slings it to the L1. Goodman fires one just to the right of the cage. And another corner.
Those corners within corners have been a big thing for both sides here. Rochester, their first 2 corners came within the same minute, and now the Bombers having the same thing for corners number 5 and 6 on the day here. And let's see what formation they run here. Looks like it'll be pretty similar to the corner they had a second ago.
Garver to Valley in front, batted beyond the 25, and back towards midfield by the Yellow Jackets.
And Emma Garver has been so key in kind of setting up the corners for the Bombers. A lot of times takes it up the middle and then distributes it. But, these last couple, they just haven't been able to get past the Rochester defense. And now Rochester has it on around midfield. That doesn't last long, though. Ooh. Descalso was tripped up there by a Rochester player. It's going to be all right, but no penalty.
And Descalso has been a great comeback story this season, missing the spring season with a torn ACL, playing with a brace on her right leg.
Yeah, Descalso did miss a few games this season, played 15. This is her 16th. That was just in that recovery.
And a slow start to the season in terms of the minutes that she was able to get due to the injury, missing a couple of games, as you mentioned. But has hit a hot streak over these last few games, and that's another piece of the Bombers team that's been clicking so well. 6 goals in the last 6 games for Descalso after she only had 2 points over the first 10 games of the season coming back from the torn ACL.
Yeah, I mean, Ithaca was very reliant early in the season on their defense, but now, all of a sudden, Natalie Descalso back to doing Natalie Descalso things, and with those 6 goals over the last handful of games, she is now averaging over a point a game, as she has for most of her Bomber career.
And Descalso, a huge impact, obviously, on the field as well. But she kind of turned into the third coach of this Ithaca team over the course of her injury. She spent the entirety of the spring season in the office with Coach Wahila and Coach Ordung, essentially serving as a coach. She helped develop a couple of the corner plays that they run and a couple of the press plays that they run. So maybe a future in coaching as well.
Yeah, I mean, very, very talented in all aspects of the game. A great mind for the game. Yeah, it is partially a mental sport, and I mean, it's about finding the right pass, creating the right shot. Descalso's been great at that her entire career.
And it would be only the cherry on top of the Liberty League Championship. But again, on senior day, able to get those 2 goals as well against your Sinus in front of a big crowd. She, the sole West Coast player on this Bombers team from San Carlos, California, said she had a lot of family in attendance on senior day, and was a big moment, again, coming back from the injury, to be able to capitalize in that way against a top 25 ranked opponent in your Sinus, where Ithaca was able to get the huge win in the season finale, in the regular season at least, at Higgins Stadium.
And I think in addition to the win streak, that win helped set the tone for these playoffs. Hopefully the Bombers can hold on here and continue that.
And you usually see 1 or 2 non-conference games against strong opponents to end the season. And sometimes that can either serve as a pick-me-up where you win, you come in with momentum, a loss where you come in knowing what you have to improve on, and Ithaca was able to get a huge win against number 17, your Sinus, 2-1 in shootout fashion.
Yeah, and our Sinus, this is a playoff caliber team. They could be also in that conversation like the Bombers or the Yellow Jackets, whoever falls short in this one for an at-large bid. So to beat a playoff caliber team like that is big for the Bombers headed into what's potentially ahead for this team.
Well, Rochester, number 20 ranked in the nation. They're 17-3 overall, 5-2 in conference play. Their only losses coming in a surprise in the regular season to Union, who they beat in a shootout fashion on Friday up in Schenectady, as well as Ithaca, who they lost 2-0 to in the regular season. So I wouldn't say struggles in conference. They went 5-2, but 2 pivotal losses in conference play where, you're not going to see Union or William Smith really in the conversation for either of those at-large bids as well. Yeah. Rochester might be at a disadvantage considering, as we've talked about, how strong this region has been.
Yeah, and Ithaca has shown out in big games, most of the year. They beat York, who's probably a playoff team. They beat Rochester earlier in the season. They did fall short to Geneseo, but then the big win over Sinus as well. So they've been beating ranked teams, potential playoff teams throughout the season. And a win here would really set them up well moving forward.
The Bombers joined the Liberty League in 2017. It started as a slow uphill climb, a couple of struggles over their first few seasons. And again, right around after COVID, that 2021 season where they made the deep Liberty League run, able to turn the program around. A lot of these seniors were freshmen on that 2021 team that, Natalie Descalso was a freshman, scored the game winner in the semifinal to go to the championship game. They won the regular season in 2021. And so to go out on top for those 7 seniors starting on the field.
And this Rochester team, while it may not work out for them today, a little bit reminiscent of that 2021 team. The future could be bright. They have a first year in Hannah Maida who has been great all year, and they were 17-3, so who knows what this team could do at its peak. But, I mean, today they just have to get past a very strong Bombers team with so much experience, and that's been an uphill battle. Still anybody's game, though. 2 minutes for Rochester to tie this up if they want to keep this going.
The Bombers in search of what would only be their second NCAA tournament berth since 2000, coming in back-to-back seasons. Again, what they were able to do in the NCAA tournament last year, making it to the second round against the eventual runner-up in the nation in Johns Hopkins. And like we've talked about, there have been so many improvements at so many positions just from that team a year ago that, again, they lost the Liberty League Championship. But we saw throughout the course of the regular season what they were capable of, as well as in the NCAA playoffs.
Definitely. I mean, last year was huge in the development of this team. Sets them up even better for this year's tournament.
Descalso coast to coast. Valley in the circle, flings it in. Juliana Valley has a pair of goals, and the Bombers have a 2-0 lead with 1:31 left to go.
Almost identical to how yesterday's game went. The key difference, Friday's game, but on Friday it was Descalso, and today Juliana Valley showing out with 2 goals. Now leads the team with 19 points. An incredible day for Juliana Valley and a great tone setter headed into NCAA tournament play.
1:31 left to go, and all the Bombers need to do is wind out the clock to take home their first Liberty League championship since joining the conference in 2017.
Absolutely. And the Bombers have got to be thrilled for this one. So many players on this team that have been waiting for this moment, whether it be Valley, whether it be Descalso, and both of them played key roles in this playoffs. But you also got to give props to the veteran defenders like McAllister and Goodman, as well as midfielders like Berry and Emma Garver.
And we even talked about Valley in quarter number 1 and the impact she played in the defensive 25 on defense as well. And it was really that first quarter where Rochester probably didn't spend 45 seconds in the attacking 25 that, I mean, Ithaca just set the tone. They were able to get the shots off, able to apply the pressure, and eventually 2 goals come out of it.
Yeah, Valley, Catherine Papa, many others aggressive in trying to force turnovers for these Bombers, giving them possession advantages for a good part of this game.
30 seconds left to go. Bolero down the sideline.
And I mean, just playing keep away from Rochester's offensive zone could get the Bombers this victory in itself.
Coach Wahila said it this week. The time is now. A team that is peaking at the right time. Every day, you wake up 0-0 in the playoffs with a chance to head to the next round. And for Ithaca, they stand alone. For the first time, the Bombers are Liberty League champions, storming Maeve Clark in net. And the Bombers, for the second straight year, are going back to the NCAA playoffs.
A huge win for Ithaca. I mean, they did this against Rochester in the regular season. To do this again, it must feel great for all these seniors that have been waiting for this moment. Yes, made the NCAA tournament last year, but get to sit and watch the selection show tonight knowing that they will be somewhere on that bracket. And Eli, you do see any shot that could be a home game?
Could be, with how they played down the stretch. And the dominance against Ursinus and against another top 25 opponent in number 20, Rochester. Trophy presentation coming on the field. And Juliana Valley, the hero, with 2 goals.
Yeah, Juliana Valley. I mean, this has been the pinnacle moment of her career as a Bomber, and it only goes up from here for players like Valley and Descalso, a chance to build on what they did in the NCAA tournament 1 year ago.
Second multi-goal performance of the season for Valley, and this by far the biggest. Ithaca wipes past Skidmore, wipes past Rochester, and for the first time since joining the Liberty Leagues in 2017, Ithaca are the champions. Trophy presentation coming up on the field, but we will throw to the post-game crew with Johnny Lisi and Max Raymond to bring you that, to bring you the MVP of the Liberty League tournament as well. And Ithaca keeps on celebrating. Caitlin Wahila in her 8th season at the helm gets the championship. Coach Moore Ordung as well, the associate head coach for this squad, all celebrating in front of the Bombers' goal. Again, we've got more post-game coverage coming up of the trophy presentation as well as the MVP presentation, but that will wrap things up. Andrew Roberts, signing off for Andrew Roberts, I'm Eli Fishman saying so long. Thank you to everyone with Ithaca Athletic Communications who's made this broadcast possible. Again, post-game coverage coming up.
I'm Max Raymond here post-game with Johnny Lisi. It was a true battle to the finish, and in the end, the Bombers are the ones who come out victorious with the 2-0 win. These 2 goals both come in that second half. The first one, Juliana Valley, she netted 2. First one from her came off of a corner that we had talked a lot about, and the ability to succeed on those corners being important. It looked like the corner was going to be a failure. However, continued battle and push from the Bombers leaded to this successful goal. And then later on in this second half, it was a turnover, a fast break from the Bombers, some great passing, missed position from the Rochester defense, and it was Juliana Valley again netting the second goal of this one, and the 2 goals was all the Bombers needed to win.
Well, both of those goals, we'll go and break down each of them. The first goal from Juliana Valley off of that corner was absolutely beautiful. It was not the best corner draw up and execution, but Valley managed to make something out of it and hit the top of the net. Beautiful, beautiful goal by the Bombers, and that made the crowd come alive even more, which is a lot better. And on the second goal, a fast break, a beautiful shot. Juliana Valley, that was the goal when Ithaca, New York knew that they would win a Liberty League championship. And my favorite part were the celebrations, Max. You gotta, if you win a championship, you gotta talk about the celebrations. And immediately, sticks were in the air. A lot of the sticks, Max, are still on the circle for Ithaca, but everyone collided around Maeve Clark. Another shutout. And then what I want to talk about is the embrace between Coach Caitlin Wahila, Mo Ordnung, and a couple players from the sideline. That was a really long embrace on the sideline. And there's the trophy, Max. That is something that all these players have hoped for, is they're going to rally around the trophy. But the most wholesome moment of this, Mira Burry she sprinted. She's got to be gassed after that game, but she sprinted into the crowd, found her parents, and what really stuck out to me was Juliana Valley in tears, running in the at least a minute-long embrace with her parents. And Max, like Eli and Andrew were talking about at the end of the game, these players, these seniors, they have been in the Liberty League championship before, and now they have finally won it. And in a sense of relief and pride that it happened, and Juliana Valley says it all with the 2 goals, and then jumping into the stands with such an emotional embrace, Max. I don't think you could ask for a more wholesome and just core memory moment for this team.
Definitely not. This team showed up ready to play. Again, we opened talking about how they were all serious, locked in and focused, and that's really what led to this ending result, what led to the success of this team. It was a back and forth game, but the momentum always seemed and stayed on the Bomber side once they obtained it early in that first half. Again, the Bombers, they had 15 shots, 7 on goal, really putting on the pressure on Houston. And it was a great game from her in net. And the whole reason why Rochester really had a solid opportunity and chance to win this one was on her back.
Yeah, this one's going to sting a lot for the Yellow Jackets. And before we get into that quick analysis, something that just happened, Rochester head coach Wendy Andrietta in her 17th season. She's been in this championship game a lot. And managed in Ithaca's big trophy celebration. She came over, found Coach Wahila. They embraced at midfield, and that is what you love to see. The collaboration, because in some conferences, Max, the coaches don't get along as much as the coaches right here. Coach Wendy Andrietta and Caitlin Wahila get along, and that was just great to see. But when the rain started falling, the Bombers started to heat up.
Definitely,
it added suspense and drama, but this was an incredible game. The Bombers really found a way to get Kara Houston kind of distracted. They really crashed in front of the net. That's something we haven't seen a lot from this Ithaca Bombers squad. That's not their typical style of play, but it worked. They managed to kind of distract her, and Kara Houston on that insurance goal that gave the Bombers the win from Juliana Valley. It was a sprint. Kara Houston came out of net, and Valley got it, and that was the mistake that cost Rochester the Liberty League title, but Kara Houston's got to be proud of herself. This one's going to sting, and Max, she's a junior. She's going to come back for her senior season with a vengeance, and I think looking super, super far ahead, Rochester is still going to hang tough next year. I think we very well could see this matchup again next year and potentially in Rochester.
For sure. It has been a battle, and as we begin to wrap it up and you see the Ithaca Bomber players coming to see their parents and celebrate. We talked big and a lot about corners, and it played a difference, the corner offense, but something we didn't really talk about was the corner defense from the Bombers.
It was really, really well done. The Bombers just perfectly executed. It was just absolutely incredible. And I got it, Max, my MVP is Juliana Valley, without a doubt. Usually I like to try and look and see, hey, maybe it might not be the person who scored all the goals. Maybe it's someone who had some good defense. But Juliana Valley, absolutely incredible. She's the reason why the Bombers won, but if I had to give out a silver medal MVP, it's Maeve Clark. You don't in the Bombers defense is kind of a tie because shutouts don't come easy in field hockey. They don't come easy in collegiate field hockey, and they especially don't come easy in a championship game in one of the most competitive conferences in Division III field hockey. But Juliana Valley played incredible. She was really quiet in some other home games, and she was quiet against Skidmore in the semifinals. The Thoroughbreds really neutralized her, and